1. Hello, I'm Scott Soshnick.
And I'm Eben Novi-Williams, and this is the Purchase More Ham and Bacon sports business podcast, the Sporticast.
Not a law firm, Novi-Williams, not a law firm. Now, 2 reasons. 1, anytime you and I laugh together, we say, all right, we should discuss this. But we also, from time to time, get special requests. Friend of the program, Steve Horowitz, texting in saying, you guys must discuss this. As if, come on, Steve, as if we were not going to do it anyway. I feel as if, he just did not give us enough credit. But Iowa State football may have the perfect NIL arrangement, although I do love the fact that the Kansas City Chiefs obviously have Kelsey and a player named Swift, and they stand next to each other on the sideline.
The Eagles have a Kelsey and a Swift.
Kelsey and a Swift, sorry. That works very well. But the Iowa State football team has a bunch of players that seem perfect for the Iowa pork producers, and for some reason I just see the Iowa State Fair. I see this being a huge deal at the Iowa State Fair, whenever that may be.
Yeah, let me introduce you to Miles Purchase, Tyler Moore, Tommy Hammond, and Caleb Bacon. And when you line them up, as we said, it's Purchase More Ham and Bacon. And the Iowa pork producers have signed an NIL deal with them and with Iowa State, because it seems like they're wearing their uniforms. But they are going to appear in advertisements together. And the pork producers are going to give, I think it's $1,000 of pork donated to each of these guys' favorite or their pantry of choice. Low stakes from a economic standpoint, Scott. But
No, bacon, not steak.
Very nice. Good.
Thank you.
But we're talking about it, right? And this is, I find these NIL deals to be the most fun, the ones that are kind of playful, using players' names or quirky parts of their personality. I've never heard of any of these guys. I have no idea if any of them are good. I have no idea if they're third string, fourth string, whatever it is. But this is an opportunity for them to get a little bit of attention. I don't know if they're getting paid on the side as well. Maybe they are, but if not, they're doing some good in the community, and then people can have fun with it. So a very funny, and just looking at their names laid out and their uniforms, I like this deal a lot.
It's like a jumble. You see, things, I've got pieces together, and then wait a minute, if I string it all together, it makes sense. I like it. Anytime there's creativity involved, you and I will talk about it. Now let's get to the real business of sports, if we may. We already knew that the WNBA was looking to expand, right? That Kathy Engelbert had said they're looking to add teams. I would think the WNBA would be absolutely thrilled if Joe Lacob and the Golden State Warriors bring a team to the Bay Area. I believe The Athletic first reported that the deal is close. That is, I think, a good market with Stanford and Cal, women's basketball. WNBA going to the Bay Area, playing in Chase Center, seems to be a win for the league.
The WNBA has been talking about expansion for a while now.
Yeah.
I know from folks who have been involved in the process that it's been a little confusing. It's been a little murky. How many teams? What's the time frame? Who's running it? But I agree with you. This would be a slam dunk, I think, for the WNBA. The Warriors, since the Chase Center opened, have skyrocketed in valuation. It's the most valuable team in the NBA, one of the most valuable teams in the world right now. They have the facility. That's where the WNBA team would play, according to The Athletic. The ownership group is good. You're right. It's a hotbed out there college-wise for women's basketball as well. And the WNBA is structured a little bit differently than most leagues. There's equity holders in the league, and they just raised a lot of money from some really big names in that regard. And then there's some teams that are owned by NBA teams, and there are some teams that are owned independently. This would obviously be an NBA-owned team. But, if you're looking to expand, I think location-wise and ownership-wise, two little groups that make a lot of sense here.
Yeah, I would say if I'm an investor in the WNBA or buying a team, it's different than the NWSL. I think greater risk there in that here the league is an equity partner in the entire endeavor, as well as, let's not forget, in the family of the NBA. Does anybody want to make a wager as to when the broadcast agreement comes up as to whether the WNBA is pulled in under the umbrella of the NBA, and it will be sold as one? If you want one, you take the other as well.
Sure.
So I think there's reasons to be optimistic that you can get a good deal, especially with that ownership group operating the franchise in the Bay Area. So I am thumbs up on this one. I think there's a good market. We know Joe Lacob as an owner. You know the building. You know the area. It seems like it makes perfect sense.
I'll rattle off a few more names. These are people that invested in the league overall, not a specific team early last year. Mickey Arison, Lorene Powell Jobs.
Well, let's just have Mickey Arison, Carnival Cruise Lines, billionaire owner of the Miami Heat. Yeah. Lorene Powell Jobs, one of the richest women on the planet, monumental sports investor with Ted Leonsis. Clara Tsai, Joe Tsai,
Simon family,
Brooklyn Sports and Entertainment. Who else?
The Simon family, owners of the Pacers.
Oh, yep.
And Nike, another
and them
big,
and Phil
big
Knight.
name in marketing and in sports product. So yeah, the NWSL has gotten a lot of attention with expansion, Scott, because they've done a number two, I guess three if you count Utah.
Also
in
the Bay
past
Area.
Few years, including a team in the Bay Area at a pretty large number. But the WNBA is on par at the top level, almost on par, I think, at the top tier in terms of how much these teams are probably worth if they were to sell. And it's interesting to see that this long-rumored expansion may finally be coming to at least some news at some point soon.
All right, explain yourself, Novi Williams. For the headline of a story you wrote the other day, you used the words holy and grail. I said let's come up with a punchy headline. You came up with holy and grail for Genius Sports BetVision product. Explain to me, and for those who are not familiar with the product and where we're headed, as to why you think BetVision is the quote, unquote, holy grail that's not bettors.
That's not me editorializing. That is the way that people in the sports betting world, operators, apps, talk about what they want the future to look like. And this is what they want the future to look like. The challenge that all these sports betting apps have had in the past few years is getting people to stay on the product. And the way it works right now largely is you might be watching the game, you might be checking the score, you turn away from the screen, or you shut down your mobile feed just to get up the sports betting app. You place the bet, and then you close the app and you go back to what you're doing.
Yeah.
What all of these apps want is to no longer be the second screen. They don't want to be the third screen. They want to be the primary.
There's only one screen. They want one screen.
And the way to do that is to have live games that people want to watch, and also to be able to overlay everything on top of it. So if you need to place a bet, you can stay on the screen. If you want to see stats, if you want to see a replay, if you want to, and we'll get into this, if you want to buy a T-shirt or a sports card, hello, Michael Rubin.
Hello, vertical integration at Fanatics.
All of those things happen on one screen. That has not happened yet until Genius laid out this new product, which is called BetVision, starting with NFL games. So every nationally televised game and every local game in your market, if you were in a place where legal sports betting is, sportsbooks can now pay to have this product. And it's, as we said, it's everything on the screen at once. And I say holy grail because this is the product that everybody wants. It's what everybody has been working towards.
Let me jump in, though. I think that there's one thing in my mind that's missing, because games, odds, stats, even e-com, there's one thing that to me is missing that is, most closely associated with the second screen experience, most closely associated with the sports communal experience, and that's social.
Social media, yeah, and trust me, this is all in the thinking as well.
Of course.
The reason DraftKings launched DraftKings Social last year is because they understood the social aspect of this as well. A couple other things that were notable to me, Scott. Most of I think probably all of the live streaming that sportsbooks apps have done here in the U.S. in the past have been lower resolution and with size restrictions. And that was the way that leagues got to carve these rights off of the $1 billion deals that the big media companies pay. So yeah, you can watch the game, but the resolution's pretty bad, and if you're on a big tablet, you can't full screen it. There were all these restrictions. This BetVision product with Genius and the NFL does not have those restrictions. This is, from what I understand, the first real sportsbook streaming app product that can be as good resolution-wise, can be as big as it would be if you were watching it on the ESPN Plus app.
Let me ask the big dirty word in this. Let me ask you about the big dirty word in all this, and every time you're hearing about anything streaming and sports betting, the word we come up with is latency.
Yeah.
Yes, it's the L word.
So from latency there's many layers to that because it also depends on what your internet looks like and where you are, how good your signal is, etc. But the latency on this product, from what I have been told, is better than watching it on
than TV, right? Yeah. Okay, I mean that's a must. Faster. That's a must.
That is, and you're right. That if the product is built around live betting of games, which this is, to be very clear, you can't be slower. You can't be slower than regular TV. And some people would argue that even regular TV is too slow for really live betting some of these sports, depending on how micro the markets you want to get into. So the speed is high quality. The broadcast quality, size, all of that also seems to be, the restrictions are gone. So yeah, this is a product that I think a lot of people are going to look at as the early version of what the kind of end stage ideal situation is for sportsbooks. One other thing I'll say on this, Scott, and we joked a little bit at the top there about other forms of e-commerce. The Genius wants there to be other forms of transactions that can happen here, again, layered on top of the live feed. And you can see why that would be especially valuable for Fanatics. One of the first sportsbooks to pay for this service is Fanatics. They have a wealth of apparel, of hard goods, of trading cards, NFTs, whatever it is in the future that they want to sell.
So how about they know you just want to parlay? They're like, how about spending some of that money on this thing you looked at 3 months ago? We'll still want to buy this T-shirt or sweatshirt.
100%. And one of the things that Michael Rubin did so well at Fanatics is understand that the passion of fans is really hot in big moments, and then it starts to dissipate.
It's ephemeral. It's an ephemeral.
It's extremely ephemeral. They call them hot markets in the Fanatics office. But what better than to capitalize on that height of passion if you can buy something that pops up on your screen as you're watching the game, right? It's that quick. It's not even, you don't even need to go looking for it. The option to buy the NFC Championship shirt is there the minute the game ends, or even before the game is over, perhaps. Whereas if you have to look for it 2 days later on a Monday, waiting for the Super Bowl to happen, yeah, you might not be as interested in buying that. So there is definitely another kind of layered e-commerce opportunity on top of this that I think is really interesting. And then the last thing I'll say real quick, this product also to me shows how much these leagues, particularly the NFL, are embracing sports betting. The ability for Genius to show these streams without resolution or without size restrictions means that the NFL had to go to its partners and carve it out. And that, I'm sure, is not something that those partners were thrilled with. The NFL has a lot of leverage, as you know, with its media partners. But there is a piece of this, and the NFL being the first league to be launched on this product, there is a bit of this that shows exactly how willing and how interested these leagues are in working with their data partners, working with the sports books to make their product even better.
All right, I'm going to go a generational thing. If I say to you the song "Heat of the Moment," do you know it? No, it was the heat of the moment.
No, I do.
No? Telling me what my heart meant. Do you know who sang? You know the band?
I have no
Come on. All the older people are like yelling at you. Come on, Novi Williams. No? Asia? You don't know? No. Doesn't work for you?
No.
All right. Well, too bad.
Sorry.
All right. Well, let's go back into
it's a banger.
Yeah, it is a good song. Let's go back into your demo and talk about Toy Story the movie. How old were you when Toy Story came?
Oh my gosh.
Buzz Lightyear. This you know.
Not exaggerating.
Speaking of the NFL and flexing.
This is the movie I've watched the most in my life, I think.
Is that because of your nephew?
No, it's because of me.
Oh, okay.
Because what did it come out, 94, 95, something like that?
I think they're great. Yeah, they're great movies.
7 years old. Yep. And I've seen all the more recent ones even as I became an adult. I love Toy Story. This is the latest alt cast that ESPN is doing, working with the NFL. Jaguars game also. This is right after my heart. Toy Story.
This is right. Yeah, this has all your big brands, right?
8-year-old Eben, if you had told him that at some point in his lifetime there would be a Jaguars game broadcast in Andy's room, he would have freaked out about that possibility.
I love this idea. I mean, we talked about all about the Fortnite and how they're trying to reach kids. Now, the fact that you're going to have the characters from the movie broadcasting an NFL game. Like, I know my mind started going right away. Everybody knows. Like, I don't want more than one to infinity and beyond. Like, okay, that's it. I'll give you the one, and I'm okay if you totally leave it out. Like, this could be one of the prop bets. Will they use it? Like, I'm okay with them leaving it out. But I'm not sure like how they bring all the other characters in. I just know I want to see it, and I'm really interested to see how
Ham and
creative
Rex
they can get and
their,
how fun this
giving their
broadcast will be.
commentary. Yeah, the thing about this that I think is I love this idea. I will eagerly turn it on Sunday morning just to check it out. They all feel like they're one-offs to me.
Yeah.
Like, am I going to watch more than a quarter of an NFL game watching little nesting dolls move around like NFL players? Probably not. And again, this is IP. Toy Story IP is like near and dear to my heart. It's maybe the most valuable thing there. There's a nostalgia aspect here for sure. I'm sure the ratings are going to be pretty good, but they all seem like they are one-off. And I'm not going to use the word gimmick, but I don't know what the end game goal is here, outside of just maybe you can just continue twice a year to do something brand new. Pick something new. Do it in Lord of the Rings. Do it in Star Wars. Do it in Cars, do it in Ice Age, whatever it is. But
that's the beauty of Disney, and that's the whole purpose of the streaming. 100%. That they have an incredible library of IP and Pixar that they can go into. And you said you were going to watch it or anticipate it eagerly. Yeah, it's actually more appropriate to say you're going to anticipate it eagerly.
There you go. Yeah, I'm fascinated by again what this looks like next year or in 5 years. The NHL was the first one to do this, right, with those Green Park characters. That was not IP that I knew, so I only watched, I don't know, maybe 30 seconds of it. It's silly. It's not a great way to watch a game. But again, if you can continue to iterate on interesting ideas and do 2 or 3 of them a year, the Nickelodeon game, whatever it is, I do think there's something interesting here. I imagine this is extremely expensive. And that's the other question I have, is that to put this game on, the amount of early planning you need, the whatever the process is, the tech process, the testing, all of that. If you do have to do deals for the IP, even if they are kind of within the same Disney umbrella, I imagine these broadcasts are extremely expensive, and I don't know if whatever the ratings boost you're going to get from a lot of people who are probably going to watch this game otherwise. If there was just one
John
feed,
Ratzenberger the pig? Was he the voice of the pig, John Ratzenberger?
He
bringing it back to the bacon that we started with.
Yeah. I love Ham. Yeah, Ham's a great character.
Yeah, he's a great character.
Yeah.
That's what I'm just
iconic
thinking.
Voice. Yeah,
Getting these folks right. Yeah, Cliffy Clavin, the mailman, is now Ham. So I'm just trying to figure out. You get all the voices back to get it right.
Yeah, and who knows? I don't even know if they're AI voice. I have no idea. I don't know exactly what this thing is going to look like. But again, I know it's expensive, and I don't think there is any kind of meaningful, longer-term idea here outside of we'll play around with it. It's fun. It's nostalgic for people like me who are in their 30s or for people in their 40s and have kids. And I think I think there's value in that for sure. All
right. Speaking of value in the NFL, Sean McManus, head of CBS Sports, was announced earlier in the week, stepping away, retiring after the Masters. David Burson, the president of CBS Sports, will replace him. He's been there for quite a while, so kind of a seamless transition. Just some highlights from Sean McManus. For people who don't know Sean, how about this? He got the NFL back for CBS. Ready for these numbers? 8-year deal. What do you think you'd have to pay nowadays? What's current? What's go rate for NFL on an 8-year deal?
$25 billion.
Yeah, well, he paid $4 billion over 8 years for the NFL. And by the way, remember, imperative because CBS had walked away from the NFL back in the day. This was them getting the NFL back.
And this saved the company in some people's eyes, right?
You needed to have Fox was built on the NFL. So, interesting. We have Sean McManus stepping away. We have changes at Fox. With Lachlan Murdoch taking over for his father Rupert and the company. Again, all built on the NFL. Very, very powerful product. What else did he do? March Madness, how about that? Get the deal with Turner for CBS. 7-year deal with the Big Ten. So Sean has positioned CBS well, at least with its sports portfolio, and he always has a handshake deal for the Masters. That's a lot of pressure on David Burson there. You better walk in and, you better not lose the Masters, David. That's Sean just walked in. One-year deals, annual deals. You walk in, you shake your hand, say, let's do it again.
That's the big one to me. The fact that the Masters, one of the most valuable sports weekends, TV properties on the calendar, it doesn't have a contract. It is a handshake agreement. The money is would be shockingly small for most people because they're not trying to commercialize it in the way that you commercialize an NFL games or
prestige
March
product.
Madness. But yeah, the ability to keep that in today's business day and age, to keep that as a year-by-year handshake, what's it going to cost? That's what we're going to pay you, that kind of thing, I think is amazing, and I don't think we'll ever see. Once that ends, if it ever ends, I don't think we'll ever see another a major sports media package that gets done consistently in that way. When you mentioned Murdoch there, Scott, the changes are coming so fast right now for the kind of traditional legacy TV companies. I am not surprised that we're entering an era of swift change. I think about it kind of similar to all of the huge athletic directors that we're seeing step aside in college sports right now.
Yeah, sort of that institutional college person is out. Everybody was bringing in different executives to run their college
the
athletic
business
departments.
Obviously changes year over year, but the changes that we're going to see in the next 5, I think, are drastically more severe than the changes we've probably seen in the last 15 to 20. And for that reason, I'm not surprised that a lot of the leaders who have guided these companies through the last 20, in Sean's case, 27 years, are deciding that, you know what, it might be time for someone else to handle whatever's coming next.
You know the boot camps that executives have to go through, CEOs will do before they travel internationally?
Yeah.
Of local customs. You don't do this. You don't show the bottom of your shoe. You don't shake with one hand. What? Does David Burson have to go through a boot camp? Like, does Sean have to walk him through? All right, as soon as you step on the grounds, you cannot run. Don't even think about pulling your phone out. And if I hear that thing ring, you know, when you shake hands, when you make sure, I don't care if you hate pimento, you're going to eat a sandwich. Right?
Patrons, not fans.
Patrons, not fans. There are so many faux pas and mistakes that he could commit that could cost CBS this deal. You better have a really good boot camp with Sean to go through all the do's and don'ts.
And something that you and I talk about with commissioners, the transition time and the benefit that sometimes exists when you have a stated successor. Sean's not leaving now. Sean's leaving at the end of the Masters next year, I think, right? So that's 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, and David's been there for a decade.
Yeah, everyone knows him already, but everyone knows he is going to be the guy starting in May of next year. I do think there's a clean process there that is probably fairly admirable and is good for Burson as he takes over to know that it's not like Sean is disappearing and suddenly he has to be the guy. He can learn a lot of these things as the named successor over the next half a year, 12 months.
All right. By the way, Sean has been the chair of the March of Dimes, the New York Luncheon, for a long, long time. I, too, am a newcomer. I guess, what am I, like year 2 or 3? Year 3 of my service time on the board. So if anybody's listening and wants to get involved in sponsorship or give, look me up. Do it. Help give to a great cause. Thank you very much, Sean, for all that. And amazingly, the last story we wanted to talk about is tangentially, involved with legacy sports and television.
Sure.
Right? Because Chelsea finally, by the way, has a shirt deal, which the fact that it went for a while and didn't is bizarro world to me. I can't believe they played even a single minute without a shirt sponsor. But finally, Infinite Athlete, and by the way, Infinite Athlete is Charlie Ebersol, son of Dick, who, of course, Mr. Olympics and ran NBC Sports and built that. So your take on it, you and I have been shaking our heads for a while now going, how is Chelsea stepping on the field? How does the EPL season start? How does any international game be played without a shirt sponsor for Chelsea?
Yeah, I want to get your opinion on this because Jacob Feldman, our colleague, and I have diametrically opposite views on this.
Ooh, and I'm not sure where you guys land on this.
I watched the clips of Chelsea or Chelsea games this year with just a blue front of shirt, and I thought it looked great. I thought it looked extremely clean. I loved the look of it. In Jacob's mind, it looked like they were a 5th division club team.
Yeah, you're gonna hate me. You know I'm not a purist in anything. I am not a purist in anything, so I don't care.
Yeah.
I think that I am so conditioned now to see a jersey with the logo and it's associated with the club, and whether it's Betfair or whether it's Pirelli or whether I know they come and go and they change.
Sure.
But I'm so used to seeing it that seeing a jersey without that logo, I'm with Jacob, makes it seem minor league to me.
Yeah.
I'm a little uncomfortable.
And I love the look, but I agree. The fact that it went this long is pretty shocking. From what we understand, this is a 1-year deal, so I don't think this is a long-term thing. Chelsea had a deal in place a couple months ago with a gambling company, Stake.com. There was some uproar, some anger among some fans. They ended up not going with that deal, which I think is the reason why it just took a little bit longer to get the other thing locked in place. There's going to be big changes in this world, Scott, coming up. The UK government has made it clear that starting in a couple years, gambling sponsors are not going to be
at a time when American sports leagues are just starting to put these logos on. So,
Exactly,
so we'll be 10, 15 years behind everything going on in Europe.
I think that's probably right. The gambling partners have been the dominant industry for front of jersey EPL sponsors for a while now. I think there's 8 this year. 8 of the 20 teams have gambling sponsors. So there's going to be, I think, a little bit of growing pains in that industry over the next few years as people wean themselves off of the gambling spigot to a degree. But yeah, this is Chelsea struggling on the field right now. They just raised $500 million. Obviously, there's some financial imperatives there as well, even for new ownership in Todd Boehly and Clear Lake Capital. They're a fascinating business story in a lot of ways right now. But at least they're going to look a little bit different on the field, and for folks who agree with you and Jacob, going to look a little bit more professional when they play their next EPL game.
You know, I like Didier Drogba, and if I close my eyes, for me, Chelsea, if it doesn't say Samsung, it's not right.
Yeah,
like that's to me is the sponsor that I would think of with the Chelsea jersey. Do you have a particular EPL team that you most closely identify with a sponsor?
Yeah, it's interesting. It's probably Everton and Etihad, as weird as
Etihad. Well, that could be Man City too.
Also pretty new. Yeah. I love the Man U. It was not long lived, but the Man U Chevy jerseys I think were really great. I think of Man U and Opal as well. Yeah, there's definitely ones that pop up to me.
Didn't PSG have Jeep when they brought over
Ronaldo? Right?
Ronaldo was it?
Or when Messi? Sorry, no,
Messi,
it was
Neymar.
It was Juventus.
It was Juventus, and it was Jeep. Okay,
yeah,
Ronaldo.
Yeah.
I can't remember, but I do remember at least we talked about it.
Yeah, I think the truth may be that moving forward, there's no more 10-year deals like that, right?
Sure.
The value of being on that jersey probably gradually decreases the more you're on it, right? The more that the people who bought the jersey recently are no longer buying another one right afterwards, et cetera. So I do wonder if we're going to enter this. Most of these companies, a lot of them are gambling companies that are based in Asia that are just looking to grow their presence nowhere near the home base of the English Premier League. But I do wonder if we're just going to see a revolving door of sponsors in this world moving forward, because again, I think the value starts to decrease a bit every year that you're on it.
All right. We do have a big event coming up October 11th, and I'm just curious as to what you are most closely looking forward to. Invest in Sports, one of our signature events. Again, October 11th. You can go online, whateversportigo.com, find it. Any of our newsletters, you can sign up for it. How about this? Hal Steinbrenner and Randy Levine talking about the business of the Yankees. We'll have Steve Cohen close the program, only because, end of the trading day. So Steve Cohen will be talking about the Mets and everything associated there. David Blitzer talking about the 97 teams that he owns. Doc O'Connor, Arctos talking about the investment, the passive investment across clubs around the world. Jimmy Haslam, the NFL, multi-platform MLS, multi-platform sports business being built. Jerry Cardinal, again, global media, tech. John Ledecky with the New York Islanders, real estate player, UBS Arena. I mean, and more. I mean, that's just some of what we're going to be discussing. So what are you most looking forward to?
It's every big story that we talk about on this podcast.
Yeah,
right?
it's true. We can ask every guest about all of this.
It's changing media landscape. It's ownership rules in leagues. It's sports as platform companies. It's synergies when you own multiple teams in multiple leagues. All of these things, we're putting together a list of some of the most powerful and clued in people to talk about them. Honestly, it's all of it, Scott. Maybe the one that jumps out to me, because we've talked about it a bit recently, the changes in media, the Charter Disney short-lived carriage dispute. For the past 2 decades, sports media rights have gotten more and more expensive. They have been the backbone for valuations.
But you know why they're all smiling? Because the winner, people, and that was the conversation for a couple of days, 48 hours after that Charter Disney settlement. Everybody's like, who won, who lost? I think it was good for Charter to get some things in that agreement that they'll want long term. But the real winner was sports. What you saw was sports. The value of sports was highlighted in that deal as to what's going to be included in all the packages. And all of the people we just discussed have a real stated interest in the value of sports staying high. And we're also going to talk women's sports with Natalie Rowlandson of the Chicago Sky, Jessica Berman, commissioner of the NWSL, Jasmine Robinson of the Monarch Collective, just invested in the NWSL Boston expansion team, $100 million fund investing across women's sports. And by the way, I'm embarrassed, I forgot our friend Ted Leonsis as well. Going to have a one-on-one with Ted to discuss private equity and sovereign wealth and institutional capital in sports, as the Qatari State Fund invested in Monumental. First time we saw that in U.S. sports. So a million things to talk about with those guests. October 11th in New York. Go get the newsletter. Go check it out and sign up and join us.
Yeah, Scott, let's discuss maybe trying to get clips of some things that are said.
Hell
and
yes.
maybe use them on the podcast.
We better.
Here.
We better.
We don't do that too much, but that would be a good opportunity to hear from these people directly and maybe have you and I layer some commentary on top.
If we don't do that, then we need to replace the host of this podcast. I mean, come on.
Who are they?
Who are those idiots?
Yeah.
Anyway, close the show, my friend.
All righty. He is Scott Soshnick on Twitter at Soshnick. I am Eben Novi Williams on Twitter at Novi_Williams. The Sporticast is produced by Aaron Greenewald. Shout out to Aaron. Sportico's digital media editor, Cora Veltman, would like you to know that you can follow the show at Sporticast, which is the hub of the Sportico Media Network.